Oh, hey there. Welcome to the R&B Rundown, a podcast all about Akbayan and the community that makes it special. I'm one of your hosts, Russell Estrada. I go by he and pronouns. I'm a third-year Business Management Information Systems major, and I'm in Dynasty Fam. And this year, I am one of your PR officers. Sitting next to me is my
Hi, I'm Breanna. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a third-year psychology major, part of Icon Fam. And one of your PR officers for the year.
Yes, so welcome to our podcast. This is our first ever episode. And we're so excited to see where this all goes, because we're gonna be doing this hopefully for the whole year. And so before we get started, we just want to talk to you a little bit how our journey in Akbayan. So I guess I'll start off. I did join my second year. I was totally new to this whole community and stuff, and so I just decided to do everything, and I loved it so much I decided to run as one of your P officers, and here I am today.
Yeah, and as for me, this is my third year in Akbayan. I joined my first year. My first year I just did camp, and my second year I wanted to do more, so I joined the internship program on a whim. I really didn't know what it was about. So I was an Odyssey intern. Russell was too.
Shout out Odyssey.
Yeah. And then they encouraged me. My fellow interns encouraged me to join other things. So I did PCN, and I ended up running, and now I'm here
Making a podcast
with Micah.
Yeah, who would have thought? But yeah, so that's our journey, and to all the new members out there, we hope that you have a amazing journey in this place. But as I said before, sit back and relax, and enjoy this podcast. So Breanna, before I get more into it, how was your day today?
Oh, my day was silly.
Really?
Russell, I think I saw you this morning.
Oh, I think I saw you too.
Yeah, today we had to prepare for Rush Week.
Yes.
By the time you're listening to this, Rush Week is already over, so hopefully it went well.
Hopefully you got to meet both of us.
Yeah.
We might have been tabling, who knows?
And so we had to prepare all of our tabling items. And in the morning, we put away our wagon and the canopy in DMH.
Shout out Dr. Papa for lending us his room.
Yeah, shout out. Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
pretty smooth first time.
Yeah. So, the next part of this rundown is going to be our monthly recap. As you know, this is the first episode, so there hasn't been any really events over the summer. But yeah, so instead we'll just talk about our experiences. So we just got elected to this role, and it's been a fun 3 months, just getting to know Michael a little bit more.
Yeah.
And just getting so many ideas into action and getting things done. It's been fun.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
It's been a lot of logistics, a lot of planning, but all of the fun stuff is happening all at once. So it's pretty fun to be jumping into Rush Week, to be jumping into the podcast, all that stuff. And yeah, overall, it's been really good so far.
Yeah, and we can't wait to keep on going as we actually get into the school months and do a lot more. Yeah. So we mentioned a lot of events, and one of the events that already probably took place by the time you're listening to this is Fall Open House, right?
Yeah.
And we did announce our name,
which is drumroll, Oasis
48.
What?
I know. I'm so happy we finally get it out to the public. And yeah, speaking of events, one of the events we actually produced was Rush Week.
For Rush Week, we wanted to do something a little extra this year, and we have 4 pillars, and we table for 4 days every week. So we wanted to take 1 day a week to showcase the pillars. We also wanted to showcase the programs, so we showcased the programs online. For every program, we had these member testimonials where the members could talk about their favorite memory or why they joined the program.
Yes, and we loved reaching out to everyone and hearing everyone's stories. And if you do want to keep looking at them, feel free to check out our Instagram page and check out the many highlights, and you'll be able to see them there. And so now, for our next part, we're going to be talking with our special guests. Will they introduce themselves?
Of course. What's up, y'all? I hope y'all are doing well. This is Nathan Ellisar Pahed. My pronouns are he, him. I'm in Aloha fam. Aloha. Shout out to my fam. And I am a third-year biology major with a focus in systems physiology. And I am serving as your social chair for the 40th cabinet.
Woo!
Yeah. And now I'll be passing it to our other special guest.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hallie Gwen Funcion. My pronouns are she, her, sha. For those who don't know, sha is a gender-neutral pronoun in the Philippines. I am a third-year psychology major minoring in applied research methods, part of legendary fam, Legs. And I'm proud to be serving as your internship coordinator for this academic year.
So yeah, a little bit about my AK journey. I joined in 2022. Wow, that feels so long ago now. Back when I was a lost freshman. I already knew about Akbayan from my friend in high school. And he was like, oh my God, you should join Akbayan. They're such a cool organization. And I was like, whoa. And like at the time, I didn't like know to the extent of like how, like, I guess, expansive and how much like you can do in Akbayan. And when I first like went to open house, I sat in that seat like with a few high school friends and just like seeing a bunch of loud people cheering for each other. And I was like, wow, this is kind of crazy. I didn't expect it to be like this. But then after that day, it was like just up from there. Like I met so many of my close friends there through joining FG in my first semester, and just I made so many core memories that first semester, just meeting all of the people that are kind of my like closest friends in college now. And also going through my first PCN in spring semester was like really like a big thing for me, because I've always heard about PCN in high school too. One of my best friend's sisters was already in college, and I watched her PCN while I was in high school. And I was like, whoa, I want to be part of PCN someday. And when I was finally part of it, I was like, wow, this is like amazing. So, yeah, that's a little bit about my journey. All right, now passing it back to Hallie. Say a little bit about her journey.
Thanks, Nathan. For me, I also joined my first year of college in the fall of 2022. I also knew about Akbayan when I was, I believe, a junior in high school. A lot of my friends actually were part of Akbayan, so it's kind of like generations of people from my high school. It's kind of crazy to think about it. Like two of my predecessors also went to the same high school as me. So, fun fact, I heard a lot about Akbayan. I heard that it was like, oh, we're a Filipinx American organization. And I was also doing ASB during the time, and I was so leadership heavy, and my friends were like, oh, you should join internship, it's so fun. So I did. So during my fall semester, I joined the camp program. I got picked up by my ate, part of legendary fam. I said that before. I also joined internship during the fall, and then I also joined PCN that following spring. So it was really cool. And then I guess just from my experiences within college in general, it was really an eye-opening experience, considering that I didn't really know anyone. I didn't really know anyone going into college, so internship was kind of like my first step into knowing what the college life is about, but it was also a way of finding out who I am as a person as well, whether that be like personally, culturally, academically, all that stuff. Which led me to want to pursue more of my passions within this organization. So by the next year, I was cultural chair for Soul 47, and it was really fun year. And now I'm here as internship coordinator. Circling back to the internship program. So.
Yeah, shout out Nandito Core.
Oh, shout out Nandito Core!
Yeah, wow. Well, thank you for sharing both of y'all's journey. I just realized, are you all third years. We all joined in
Yeah. Oh my
2022.
God.
Yeah.
And we somehow all ended
We're
up
old
here.
heads now.
Yeah. It's like, oh wow, we're like all like third years now. It's like,
Wow, that's
whoa,
wild.
shocker.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yes, thank you for sharing your journey. And now we're gonna transition into talking about a little bit more about friendship games. Nathan. So Nathan, would you like to explain more about friendship games and what it is?
Yeah, of course. So friendship games, it's one of our really big main events that we host in Akbayan. It's a really big event for our organization, but not just for our organization. It's also for all of the Filipinx organizations in California. And basically, it's just a really big event where everyone meets in SoCal, specifically in Cal State Fullerton, where all the Filipinx American organizations can come together and just play some games, do some cheers, and just, have a big sense of community and friendship, and really, build that camaraderie between all of these different organizations all over the state. And it's just like a really cool event where everyone gets to know each other.
Yeah. And you did mention there were like games and there's stuff. Would you like to explain more about your aspects in friendship games?
Yeah, so there's actually three aspects in friendship games. The first aspect is roll call. And it sounds like roll call is just, they're going to call your name and you're like, here. No. Nah. You thought. But it's actually a really grand way of the organizations to, I guess, show out and introduce themselves. And the way that they do that is by dancing. And basically, each organization gets an opportunity at the beginning of the Friendship Games Day to perform various themed dances, usually hip-hop dances with some cultural aspects. It's just really cool because everyone, it's not like fully awake yet and still like, getting ready for the event. But then all that hype with the dancing and everything just gets everyone excited for the day. And it's really, just the best opportunity for the organizations to show themselves out at the beginning. And then the next aspect would be games. And that's definitely one of the main aspects of FG in terms of happening throughout the day. Basically, it's just a bunch of backyard picnic-style games. For example, there's Groundhog, where you basically crawl on the floor underneath other people, and you just get down and dirty, and you just put your heart on the field.
It's rough, but it's worth it.
Yeah, it's so worth it. But yeah, definitely games is such a big camaraderie thing, and it really builds a sense of family in our organization. But I'm sure it does for all the other organizations as well. And even though we're there to spread friendship and love, we're also there to be a little competitive with some friendly competition, because without competition, what's the purpose of
Exactly.
being out there,
It also makes it a lot more fun.
It does
honestly.
make it a lot more fun. But all in good heart.
Yes.
Everyone is out there to support each other, and the environment in games is just amazing with all the other organizations also supporting each team. And last but not least, we have our third aspect, Spuff, which is basically where we really get our hype up, our cheers, and we also do skits in Spuff. And you may be wondering what Spuff stands for. We've just been saying the word back and forth. They're like, what is Spuff?
Yeah, what's a spuff?
Yeah, so basically it's just an acronym for Spirit, Pride, Unity, Friendship. And those are the four qualities that this event really encapsulates in our organizations, and is what we really want to build on, going into this FG season, because we really want to build that sense of spirit for our school, our organization, our pride for organization, and also for a sense of unity and friendship between not only within our org, but also with all the other organizations we meet. And it's really just a fun way for organizations to, I guess, meet each other on the field. And it just happens all throughout the day. People could cheer with each other and against each other, show their energy. and just the skits are always really fun. It's based on each organization's theme, and we really just get to, have fun with it.
I also love all the creativity. Like every year, it feels like they always choose like a theme that's like so them, and it's amazing to see all the skits they make just with that theme. It's kind of crazy.
I know, it's so fun. I mean, I love when they intertwine like Filipinx culture too in it, because like everyone relates to it. Like, was it last year in our skit we had a Jollibee bucket, and every organization we met, they were all like, "Oh my god, Jollibee!" Yeah, it was really fun.
I remember when I started out last year, like friendship games was like one of the first things I started doing, and like it may seem like overwhelming at first because like there's so many like aspects of like which one you're gonna do, but like honestly it was so worth it because like I feel like friendship games, like going to all of the games practices was like I started to get to know people a lot more because you're gonna be practicing like twice a week and you're gonna be with those people for like so long, and so that's where I started building bonds in the AK community, and I still have a lot of those bonds I made today. So it's so fun, and if you want to have a place to meet new people, friendship games is one of the places where you can start.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. That's definitely one of the reasons why I ran to be social chair and to be in charge of this whole event for our organization, because FG was definitely one of my first experiences where I really was like, became a core memory for me. And that's where I really met so many people that have made such an impact in my life. And yeah, that event is just so impactful in a way that I guess kind of changes your whole like college career, and for the better too. It just like changes lives.
Could you talk a bit about why you initially wanted to join FG in the first place?
Of course, yeah. Like I was saying earlier, about how I came to open house and I was kind of just like lost, didn't know what the organization was about. And actually, one of the first people I met, shout out to my predecessor Malia. She's actually one of the first people I met at open house, and I was kind of just asking around. I was like, "What is this all about? What is friendship games?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm actually one of the directors for roll call, which is the dancing aspect." And I was like, "Oh my god, I love dancing." She's like, "Really? You should join then." And I was like, "Whoa!" And I didn't know at that moment that was like, my, I guess, turning point in joining the event. And yeah, I guess after that discussion, I started to look more into FG because I got really curious. And little did I know that this event would just have such a big impact on me. And honestly, to put it simply, I also just wanted to join the event because I really wanted to get to know more people, and also just to get more involved in the organization, because that was definitely my main goal coming into Akbayan in the first place, just to get involved with more people and the community. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy journey thinking about it. It's crazy how like the people we meet like at open house can just become like lifelong friends, especially with like friendship games, because like it was kind of like the same for me. Like I met one of my friends at open house, and he was like, "Oh, like I'm doing FG this year. You want to do it with me?" I was like, "Sure." And then ended up doing the games aspect, and I had so much fun with it. And especially seeing like the atmosphere like leading up to the event. I feel like like during all the practices for all three aspects, everyone's like so dedicated and hardworking and want to make their aspect as perfect as possible. And seeing all of that go into like the actual friendship games, it's an amazing like atmosphere, just the energy there when like everyone puts their heart out and everyone like tries to do their best. And yeah.
It's crazy how like these little moments that happen at the beginning of the year, beginning of the semester, can become so much more for people in the organization. It could just be a simple hi, or just a little talk about anything in this organization could just lead to someone like getting so involved and just really experiencing the magic of what we have to offer here. And yeah, FG just like like what you said, with like all the work you put in until you reach the event, it really just like it means a lot to each person going through the event, especially putting in all that hard work. Everyone builds a sense of like family, really, and it's really just a great experience for anyone to get into, because building that family, building that camaraderie, even just in our organization alone before the event, it's really just like something that's close to my heart.
Yeah.
And I hope people listening right now would want to get into, if you haven't joined FG yet.
Yeah. And speaking to all the new and prospective people that might want to do friendship games, what are the step processes into joining FG? Because I know there's a lot of practices. Oh, so how would a new member start getting themselves involved in FG?
Yeah, so there isn't actually a lot to do. You just really have to show up for some info nights. First, we have our FG info night for friendship games. Basically, that will give the main rundown of the FG fees, what's going to happen on the day, when the practice times are going to be, how to join each aspect, and really just giving all the information you need for like the event and for the entire FG season. Just getting ready, and y'all should definitely come out, because there's going to be a theme reveal for our organization.
Gotta come out, But yes.
Y'all better show out. Thank you.
Yes. And then, so please come out to FG Info Nights, because, that's where you'll learn more about all three aspects and, get the ball rolling to your FG experience. And before we end your segment, is there any last words to any potential members that might be on the fence of joining FG?
Yeah. Anyone out there who just has any doubts or just feels like they're just not ready, or they don't feel like this is right for them, I promise y'all that this event will definitely change your life for the better. It definitely changed my life for the better, and it's really just such a great experience to get into. Not only to get to know other people, but to just like really build that sense of community and family with others that you meet around you. And it's really just a great first experience. One of them to get into, coming into this organization, to really see what Akbayan is about, and what we can offer for y'all.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Nathan, for sharing so much about friendship games, and coming out to all the practices, and hopefully you'll find out what FG is all about.
Moving on, Hallie, can you tell us a bit about what internship is?
Yes, of course. So essentially, the internship program is being able to educate and empower the members who do join the program, who wish to become more involved within leadership or become more involved within the organizations within Akbayan, but also being able to have opportunities in leadership outside of Akbayan as well, through weekly meetings, team building, and workshops, and overall other opportunities in leadership. It's built on the values of kasama, which means to be together. If you break down each syllable with the Filipinx Babayan alphabet, ka would mean connection, which essentially means to find your roots, show appreciation for your own culture. Sa means dancing alone. It's creating a positive impact in your community by using the skills that you've learned through internship or just throughout your life in general. And then Ma would translate to meditation, which means to recognize your own true self and your own potential through this organization and outside.
Yeah. I think those values really come into place like when you reflect on your internship experience. But what should prospective interns, people who might want to join, what should they expect in the program?
There's a lot to expect. There's a lot of things that we can provide through the internship program outside of building your leadership skills and team building skills. From my own personal experience, my outcome was to become more culturally aware of, like, for example, like Filipinx culture, knowing who you are as an individual through, like, culturally, especially being more socially engaged, as well as the political aspects as well, considering that this year is election season. I think that's really important to go into this program. So essentially being more involved in the community and overall striving for academic excellence and overall mental health awareness and wellness as well. Through our weekly meetings and workshops, I do plan on having guest speakers, which will be really fun. These topics will help build your leadership abilities, and as well as professionalism, personal growth, event planning, and lastly, I mentioned before, I plan on having guest speakers to connect the members to not only the Akbayan community, but to more outside organizations, especially within the professional aspect, so we can connect more with our external organizations and alumni too, whether that be intern alumni, like graduates, cabinet alumni, and through those two, we hope to do exposure trips throughout the program as well to be able to learn outside the classroom.
I remember really enjoying my exposure trip, getting to bond with my class. And as much as I enjoy the weekly meetings, all the extra stuff that we did made internship so much more special. And so what other things could you do with an internship?
Yeah, so when it comes to splitting the workload in fall and spring, usually during the fall we like to focus on like team building, focus on bonding the class together. I think it's really important to bond within the first semester, so then by the spring semester it's kind of like you're already prepared to know what to expect during the spring, and you know the people that you're going to be working alongside with. So for example, in the fall we host our community engagement project. It essentially encourages the interns to create a long-lasting impact towards communities within and outside of Akbayan through, for example, logistics, promotions, communication, overall kind of like what cabinet does, but in a sense where the interns are hosting it themselves. And this will also help them prepare for the spring as well, since spring is a little bit more workload heavy, but it's really fun, I promise. It's during the spring they'll be able to host their own workshops, and also hosting their own fundraisers too, to help them raise money for their end of the year banquet, which is technically the last event of the school year during the spring. So really look forward to that. During end of the year banquet, we get to know like who the next cabinet will be. It's kind of weird thinking about it now because we just started the school year, but really fun. Yeah, great times.
Yeah, I mean, talking about how fast internship is, I remember like when I first started, I was like, wow, like it's gonna take so long. Like there's so many meetings, but then like just like that, it's already over. And then I just remember like internship helped me so much in Akban. Like I feel like in internship, I really realized that I really want to get involved more in Akban. Like seeing all of like cabinet last year. I remember it was your event in Mabuhay, which I like helped out in. It was like, I want to do more and do more of these events. That was your event, and I was like, after Mabuhay, I was like, I started thinking like maybe I want to do more than just be like a general member. And then I decided to do more, get to try more promotions, and I ended up running for PR. But yeah, and there's so much you gain outside just like professionalism, but like as you mentioned before, all those friendships you get to just working with like doing like CEP and other projects, working with them for so long, you create those bonds, and you get to know their work style too. Like I worked with my during the end of year banquet, and we learned how to work together and our strengths and how to promote the best way, I guess. But
Okay.
yeah, do you have any personal experiences you had as a former intern yourself?
That's a really good question. But I completely resonate with what you just said. I feel like time passes by so fast when you're having fun, especially when I was an intern too. It kind of like, once spring, well, fall, I was like, oh wow, this is so cool. I don't know anyone, but I was like, oh, I can't wait to like become friends with all these people with like the same goals as I do, whether that be learning more about leadership or just wanting to make friends because like you don't really know anyone. But yeah, I'm glad that my Mabuhay kind of like gave you that opportunity to learn more or about your own passions within leadership or within the community. So wow, thank you. So yeah, for me, my internship experience, I was a Masaya intern. Shout out, class of 2022 to 2023, which also sounds like a long time ago, but it was only, 2 years ago? Mm-hmm. Wow, I kind of feel old. No, yeah. So yeah, my internship coordinator at the time was Arlene Policarpio. With our internship class, our mantra was strength behind every smile. I think it kind of showcases that regardless of what my internship class faced, we always committed to maintaining like our signature smile, and a positive attitude, because masaya in Tagalog means like happy, so that's what we kind of tried to look like. Well, not that we were happy all the time, but it was also just really important to my class to show the ability that we can have a positive outlook for all situations, regardless if that's good or bad. I think either way it would still be advantageous because we're more like on the optimistic side, and I think it also reflected our strength through community and friendship as well. But for my favorite memory in internship, definitely the retreats. Well, yeah, like through weekly meetings and stuff, we meet every Tuesday from this time to this time in BBC 004. It was like, yeah, we're kind of just like sitting down in the classroom. We're like learning more about the program. We're learning more about like who we are, like as leaders or maybe outside as leaders. And I feel like retreats were just different, there's like a different kind of vibe, especially since we're there for a while. It's not our usual meeting area or meeting time, but it was still an opportunity to not only get to know more about yourself, but get to know more about your peers. And retreats kind of brought us together even more than like the meetings, because in the meetings we're kind of just sitting there, but then through retreats it was a more like hands-on experience. We got to work closely with our fellow interns. We got to become more comfortable with one another and especially vulnerable with one another as well through the activities that we faced. And I think that's really beautiful, being able to establish such a close friendship with people you might have like never known from like a month ago, because a lot of things can happen within a month, especially within a program where you're meeting every week and you're like working closely together with your peers who essentially become friends, which essentially becomes family by the end of the program. Because by the end of the program, the community that we create through the internship program doesn't end at the program. It should continue thriving outside of the program even after. So for me, through internship, I feel like I became the person who I am today, and I was able to step out of my comfort zone a lot, because I would say like I'm a very shy person going into internship. I didn't know anyone, but now like after internship, I can see my fellow internship like classmates like just now, and I'm like, oh hey, what's up? Yeah. You're like, oh, how you doing? Oh, internship? No.
You finally graduated.
It's like, oh, remember when we were interns? You're like, oh my gosh, yeah, that was so fun. But other than that, through internship too, I was able to learn who I was outside of being a leader too, which is really important because maybe people join internship to become more involved or become leaders, but it's so much more than that. And with that said, I know I am forever grateful to my internship coordinator, Arlene, and as well as the Masaya interns. Like, they're my rock, really. They're always someone that I can come back to, even outside the program, and that's life.
Yeah, I definitely share similar sentiments, especially with the overnight or just the retreats in general. I think it's before starting the retreats, I think it's easy to underestimate the amount that you'll bond and grow closer just throughout like the day or the 2 days that you'll be together. But I feel like I had a completely different outlook on our classes, like chemistry, our classes bond just after that day or day or two. So those are also memories that I really cherish from internship. And for me, I think I didn't really anticipate how much I would grow because in fall, I felt like it didn't really do much, but there was so much growth in the first 2 months of internship that I didn't anticipate. But for you, being 2 years out of the internship program, what are some benefits from internship? It can be professional, personal, or like in education, but any benefits that you see?
Yeah, I've mentioned it before. I think one of the benefits is definitely building your leadership skills through event planning, through professionalism, kind of contacting, like, for example, when you're doing a community engagement project, you want to maybe do some outreach for outside organizations to collaborate with. I think as well, academic accountability too. I think it's really important to keep ourselves accountable when it comes to academics because, again, we're probably going to hear this a lot throughout the year, but we're human first, student second, everything else third. It's super important, really, because joining the internship program, there's a lot of time commitment, but it's also your choice. And whichever you prioritize, you should prioritize academics. You should prioritize your own like mental health, and that's what I want. That's like my overall goal to emphasize in my internship term. Just making sure that we are humans first, you know. And another benefit, I also mentioned it before, but a lot of hands-on experience through like exposure trips, maybe mixers where you can, what's the word? Like, no, you can connect with like interns, whether that be like outside of internship or like, for example, like Triforce or maybe intern alumni, and another benefit would be like embracing the spirit of Kapwa. For those who don't know, Kapwa is a core value within Filipinx psychology, meaning togetherness or shared identity. So being able to embrace that spirit of that shared identity, you'll be able to connect more to your internship class, but especially to your own identity within yourself. Which also leads to being able to connect with your culture, regardless of your background, regardless of whether you are Filipinx or not. I think being able to connect with your culture is really important. So being able to connect will open your eyes to see how each culture is like. For example, like Filipinx culture, maybe you're not Filipinx, but you join the internship program or you become a member. You're learning about Filipinx culture, but that might inspire you to learn more about your own respective culture as well, because you've begun to kind of appreciate how our culture entails and what we have to offer and how passionate we are within about our own culture. About our own culture. And lastly, of course, create long-lasting friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag friendship.
Friendship.
Friendship. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking on the friendships, I can definitely attest to the success of the internship program, just first having those lifelong friendships. And this is something that I would recommend all of the members to join if they're even interested. But what are the steps to joining the internship program?
That is a great question. The first step is to attend one info night session. So that would be this Wednesday or this Thursday, either or. You don't have to go to both. It'll be from 6:30 to 8:30. Yeah, and you should pay your membership fee, honestly, you know.
Come
Pay your
at the
membership
table.
fee. Oh, come to the table. Yeah. Pay your membership fee, attend the first internship meeting on September 10th. It'll be from 6 to 7:30 p.m. in BBC 004. I'll catch you there. Attend the meetings, pay your membership fee, schedule a one-on-one with me, and send in your internship application as well. But we can go more in depth with that during our info nights. So if y'all want to learn more about internship or what our programs have to offer, come to our info nights on Wednesday and Thursday, please. And overall, though, if you want to stay more updated on all things internship, feel free to follow us at AkbayanInterns on Instagram. There's a lot of posts from previous years, from, I believe, Odyssey to...
Shout out.
Shout out Odyssey! I think all the way to Synergy. Genesis?
Yeah.
Synergy? One of them. And you get to learn more about like what each internship class showed during their years. You can also watch their end of the year recaps. Pretty cool. Mm-hmm. You can watch the Odyssey one right now.
Yeah.
Follow us.
Yeah. For anyone on the fence, keep your Tuesday nights free and just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Just do it, you know. I mean, the journey of friendship, it can take you places, so just do it.
Yeah, one of the best things about internship is that everyone's there because they want to be. Mm-hmm. It's not something that you really see too much in like a classroom setting in college, because like, I mean, I'm sure you're there because you want to be there, but you're also in these classes because you need to graduate. But for internship, everyone wants to be there. Everyone has a shared goal, and that's one of the best things about internship.
Yeah, don't be afraid to take that leap of faith, you know. I always say, like, the hardest step when it comes to pursuing your passions is that first step forward. And I think taking that first step forward will lead you into an abundance of opportunities.
Interesting. Yeah, you'll know by the time this episode comes out what we're talking about.
But thank you, Hallie, for sharing all about internship. Thank you, Hallie. And so next up, we'll give you a preview on what's next on the AK calendar. Starting off on September 4th and 5th is Info Nights, where we get to learn more about Akbayan and the programs they have to offer.
On September 9th, we have FG Info Nights, learn about everything that Nathan talked about earlier.
And yes, as Hallie mentioned earlier, we also have our first internship meeting on September 10th. And don't forget, this is also an auditing requirement, so if you want to be an auditing, better show up to it.
Speaking of auditing requirement, on the 14th, we have community kickoff. It'll be at Selma Ollender Park. We'll have a walking shuttle from campus to the park. It's just really fun. Get to know everybody, get to see your friends from last semester, and yeah.
And don't forget, later this month we'll have our first cultural workshop hosted by our cultural chair, and we also have our first academic workshop hosted by our academic chair. And also, later in the month, we'll have our NoCal picnic with other Filipinx organizations in the Bay Area.
We also have the Kuya Ate Mentorship Workshop. We have Meet Your Camp. These are both important steps for joining the camp program. And lastly, we have our very first fundraiser, a back to school sale, which is happening in the middle of September.
And yes, if you want to remember all of these events, please remember to subscribe to the AK calendar located in our link tree. And yeah, I hope y'all come out to all these events next month.
And to close off, we're going to be doing a little fun movie recommendation segment. So, as this was my idea, I will start off. I recommend Scream 6. Well, technically, if I recommend Scream 6, you should watch all of them. But I feel like it's not popular for the last movie in a franchise or the most recent one to be the most or to be the best. But personally, I think it's the best. I give it 5 stars and a heart on Letterboxd. And fun fact, I watched 33 movies in July. I had no job during the summer. Okay, Russell.
Thank you, Breanna. She clearly loves movies. And so for my recommendation, I recommend the movie Bullet Train. It came out about 2 years ago, and it stars Brad Pitt and others as they go on a bullet train, and y'all will go on an adventure that takes so many twists and turns, and I recommend to all. Next up is Nathan.
Yeah, I recommend to watch the movie Deadpool and Wolverine. It's definitely a really funny movie, and I really recommend all of y'all to see. Definitely one of the best Marvel movies in this current phase of Marvel. And a little fun fact is that I just got my ears pierced the day before I am recording this podcast.
Yeah, they look great from this couch. Yeah.
Why, thank you. And now passing it to Hallie for her recommendation.
For me, my movie recommendation would be, it's an anime movie, but it's called Makia, When the Promised Flower Blooms. It's about a young girl, part of like a special humanoid race called the Eorphs, I think. But basically, they don't age. So with that, she like creates an emotional attachment to like a baby human boy, and she raises him during a war period. Oh, it made me bawl my eyes out. It's like my favorite movie like ever. So 5 stars and a heart, but I don't have Letterboxd.
Hey, you should get it. You should get it.
But a fun fact about me, I got my license over the summer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, catch me driving.
Oh, yeah. Catch her on the streets.
I hope that everyone watches at least one of our recommended movies, because we love these movies so much, and yeah.
Leave a comment if you do, or your thoughts on the movie.
Feel free to contact us on our Instagram page, AkbayanSJSU. Just DM us if you have any of your recommendations, and yeah. So yeah, thank you as always for listening to the R&B Rundown, especially for our first ever episode. It was a long time in the making. But yes, I'm so happy y'all listened to the whole thing, and come back next month, the next first Monday of the month, for our second episode.
And a final thank you to our guests, Nathan and Hallie. Thank you for taking your time and joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. And that has been your R&B Rundown.
Yeah.
Yeah.